yesterday, Sunday, DoorDash. I went out for 2 hours. Again, you guys know I do my stuff on the weekdays. When I do some weekend work, of course. I got a son going off to college. So even if I made what I wanted to in a week, these days, I'm still pulling some weekend stuff because I need everything I can get, even for the unknowns. I mean, there's just a lot coming up in life. And worked 2 hours. I saw 2 offers. And I was on a live stream, you guys saw. And in fact, we talked about so many other subjects on that. It kind of buried the fact that I was doing a live dash. We talked about real IDs and what everybody's going through in each state. We talked about some other things. We were talking about so many different topics because I was just sitting there. I wasn't multi-apping. I was just doing DoorDash. Remember, when I start telling you this, I live in the transparency state. The laws have been passed. It is transparent. And in fact, quite a lot of stuff has really shown its face, and it's scary. It's great. I wouldn't give up the transparency, but I now see even more dirtiness of what's going on behind the scenes with DoorDash because they have to be transparent. So I might get a $16, $2 Wingstop order that it has to show the total, and then right next to it, it has to show the tip. It doesn't have to show the base pay or what DoorDash is paying, but if you guys can do simple double-digit subtraction, you can do it. What's the total pay? Subtract the tip. That's what DoorDash paid. So if most of us see $2 Wingstop, $16, and you're not in a transparency state, which is every state except for Colorado, you're thinking, good offer, I'm going to take that one. And you're thinking, no matter what you think it might be, you're thinking, good tip too. The last $16 one I did for 2 miles had a $0 tip on it. 0. It was 2. I didn't see all the different stages, but I do know that a friend of mine here in Denver was out that night. He saw it come through at 2 and at 8. I think it went 2 to 4 to 8 to 16. And I think that even goes outside of what DoorDash says they'll pay in a base pay. I think it's 12 or 14. So that doesn't even exist. But it's proof that when you see a high paying offer, that does not mean that tip is coming. It doesn't even mean there is a tip. $16, 2 miles. I would have never, before we had transparency here, without a question, I would have said 100% for sure or 99% for sure there's a tip on there. Good tip too. But that's not the case. And now what we know is, because they're doing tons of $2 offers. So we know what they're doing. They're literally taking money and reallocating it to other orders that need to get out that have been sitting too long. Well, why? Because somebody didn't tip? I'm sorry. Like, I have a whole thing. We're not going to get into it here, but we will get into it in a podcast here soon, whatever. I've talked about it before. It's a whole model that I have, but I'm going to try and do some diagrams that I can pull up and show you guys like how a flow screen would look. Again, it won't be a DoorDash one, but it'll just be mine. I'll be able to explain it. But in yesterday's 2 hours, and I'm glad I was live talking to you guys because I don't think I would have made the 2 hours. I saw 2 offers. I did the one, and I took the other one. But when I ended the stream, because if you guys know, I said, well, this block that I scheduled, which I don't even need to do anymore. I can explain that in a quick second. But the scheduled block I have was ending. And like always, it's, near the end of it, they sent me this one to a pizza place that can be a good paying offer, but it's one of the slowest locations in town. So I was like, I'll roll the dice. I only had one offer, or I only did one delivery. I only had one offer and did one delivery in an hour 50. Okay. If I turn on my DoorDash app right now, I'm not a top dasher. Okay. I'm not any percentage that should be seeing anything like it. I don't agree with the tiers, but I shouldn't even, before transparency law, never was the app pink or red. Never. And I live in Denver. We have about 12 or 13 zones. Never were any of them pink or red. Maybe occasionally the little square downtown where none of us would work. But I never saw it be pink or red ever. No night of the week. I mean, maybe years ago, but in the last year, I've never, ever, it doesn't matter. Friday night, Saturday, there's never been pink, red. There's just too many drivers. Now it's pink and red every day, every minute. Monday at 2 p.m., Tuesday at 2:30 p.m., tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. it will be pink or red in my zone, and it will say average time between deliveries 5 minutes. Well, that yesterday it said average time between deliveries 6 minutes, and I saw 1 in an hour 50. So that's not even broken. That just is a lie and it doesn't work. But so Derek, Mr. DSN, who's in the chat right now as well, Derek was out yesterday. He popped in the live stream. We were chatting. He's in my market. He was out for 6 hours and saw 1 offer on DoorDash. One. One in 6 hours. Are you kidding me? I mean, if I wasn't scheduled, or if Derek didn't schedule, Derek knows this, he could have opened his app and it would show pink or red around the whole city, and it would say average time between orders 5 minutes. So I don't know why, but when transparency kicked into effect, they basically made it look like it's always busy. And like, I can go into the app right now with a low acceptance rating and I can schedule any shift I want tomorrow. And I can even do the half hour blocks that the way I schedule it, 10:30 to 11, 11:30 to 12, 12:30 to 1, because you can always go on 15 minutes early. And that way, if I'm on a curry or one of my B2Bs that pays really well, I don't have to worry about missing an entire block. So I do those little half hour blocks and I just do the whole day. And that way, if I miss them, no harm, no foul. But I can get in. I used to have to go in on Saturday to schedule a 2-hour Friday night, 6 days in advance. And anything other than that, I'd be lucky if I saw midnight to 12:30, midnight to 1 available any day of the week. And it never showed a heat map before transparency, none of that. So I couldn't schedule anything, but I was always trying to schedule a Friday night because I was doing them live. Now I can schedule tomorrow anytime I want. And any day this week, I can schedule anytime I want, as long as I do it the day before. Sometimes the day of, you can too, but at least the day before, you can get anything you want. So I've said to people who, even Kim's side money plans and stuff, who know, well, she say there was other perks, but the only perk to it anymore is Dash Now. And I've said, so if Platinum did not get you Dash Now status or didn't give you that ability, would you keep it? And I've said that to her a few times over the years. I've known Kim a long time. We've done a lot of pieces together. And she said, yeah, because this or that. Those are all gone. So now, the last time I asked her that question, would you do it if Dash Now was removed? Like, are you getting enough better orders being in Platinum, where even if a Dash Now wasn't available, you'd still want to have that status? She finally said no. And many times Kim has said, yeah, you see better offers, but she finally said no. She said, no, she's not even sure. Are the orders better? She just knows she can dash anytime she needs, and that's something she needs in her market. I don't need that anymore. Neither does Derek. Problem is, there's no orders. And I know for those of you that are having luck with DoorDash, cheers, because DoorDash volume is dead. I talk to people all the time. Most of you know, I talk to somebody within the company, and they're just dead. Even their acquisitions of out of country companies, like this table seating service that they bought for $1.2 billion, those are done because it's dead. They're trying to like float the company up a little bit, buy something at the beginning of a quarter, and then either hold it till the end of that quarter or the end of the next quarter. They're pulling what Uber did for many years with autonomous, and then they'll sell it off. If they take a little loss, so be it, but it at least shows a little more money coming in the big picture, and it shows a little more tech, even though they're not tech. So basically here, I question anybody in Colorado, why would you even be a Platinum Dasher? I mean, yes, it does still give you the Dash Now thing, but I can Dash Now. I have not once turned on the app in the last month. I have not once turned it on and not been able to dash right then. Even when it's dead and it says, yeah, orders every 7 minutes, but we're busy, you can dash now. I mean, it's just, you can always dash now. So there's no perk to it anymore, meaning the whole tier system is collapsed. And once everybody realizes that, I've said this, you should all be fighting for transparency.